What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you believe that Florida State has nothing to lose when they play Alabama in their week opener or week one opener? And frankly, I think that is a much more interesting question to me right now than who the king of the SEC is. But I didn't make the rundown today. Today, the rundown is made differently. And I think that's good, right? I think that's good because we're coming off of SEC media days and we're coming off of a lot of coaches having a lot of things to say about just what has transpired basically in the last 8-9 months, from the college football playoff going from the highest ranked group five, the five highest, let me do this again, the conference champions getting the bye, right? Getting elevated to these bye week. There should be no world in which Boise State and Arizona State were getting byes that probably should have gone to other teams. That's the point here, okay? Getting frustrated even thinking about this. That we went to straight seeding is great because it was needed. The more I think about that, the more sense it makes. I didn't like seeing Boise State be the home team against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl, right? I didn't enjoy that. I think, like you, I thought that Penn State was a better football team, and they bared that out, right? We're also looking at this from a standpoint of, should Alabama have gotten in over Southern Methodist in the at-large bid? And that's getting back to that Alabama question. But one team that did get seated, we think, right where they were supposed to be, is Georgia. Now, did they end up playing the kind of opponents we thought they should play? No, the same thing could be said about Oregon when they finally got to take the field and they looked up and said, damn, we got to play Ohio State again? So I'm looking at this and I'm asking myself, what is it that I know about the SEC? And what I know about the SEC in 2025 is that it belongs to Georgia. It belongs to the Bulldogs. It's belonged to them longer than people would like to realize. And that is mostly because of what Nick Saban had been able to do, and frankly, what he wasn't able to do in 2021 and 2022. I think it is remarkable that we have put this pressure on Kalen DeBoer to succeed Nick Saban while also not looking over there in Athens, Georgia, and seeing what I think is one of the two best coaches in the sport, and certainly the best coach in the SEC. I give you some numbers that kind of round this out for me, but Georgia is one of these programs that I investigate from an identity standpoint, right? That is to say, they're going to run the ball and they're going to play defense. No matter who the head coach is, no matter when they take the field, that is they're going to do. That is their MO. In this age of 1,000-yard receivers, 4,000-yard passers, think about 2019 LSU and what they were able to do. Georgia has continued to do it their way. It doesn't mean they don't throw the ball around. Just look at the quarterback's numbers. You'll see 3,000, 3,500-yard passers. What you won't see is 1,000-yard receivers. Like, I beat this one to death, but, I like beating up this one because I think it shows the excellence that Georgia plays with, and that not every brand of football is for you, right? So they've got one 1,000-yard receiver in a single season in their history, Terrence Edwards, 2002. But I can take that step further. The last time that Georgia had a 1,000-yard rusher was 2019. Remember, they've won 2 national championships since then. They've got 2 Heisman winners, right? One of them by name, Herschel Walker. But more than anything else, the number that sticks out to me is 105. That's how many wins Kirby Smart has since he became head coach at Georgia. Now, Georgia was not a bad football program when he took it over, but it wasn't an excellent one either. And Georgia fans be the first to tell you there are a lot of games that we should have won in, say, the Mark Richt era that we did not. And games where we probably could be playing for the SEC championship and winning, or we could be playing for a national championship, doing what Florida was able to do in the early aughts, late aughts with Urban Meyer, 2006, 2008 is what I'm thinking about. Now, think about Kalen DeBoer's claim to fame before he got to Bama. It was his outstanding win-loss record. It's a dude that went 104 and 104-3, right? At what level? right? At what level? Excuse me, 104-12, not 104-3. I'm looking at my notes now. 104-12, where Kirby Smart in the last, basically since getting to Georgia, going 105-19 is more impressive to me because you did it all at Georgia. Kalen DeBoer doing this at, Sioux City. Okay. Doing this at Washington? Sure. Making a national title game? Absolutely. Excellent. Win the Pac-12? Yes, absolutely. Excellent. Putting out a Heisman finalist in Michael Penix Jr.? Excellent. Rome Odunze, first-round draft pick? Excellent. But while we're looking at Bama going 9-4, going, I don't know about this, Kirby Smart went into Austin, Texas, played what we thought was the best team in the SEC, and gave them the what for and the how now. Then they did it again in the SEC championship, and they did it with the backup quarterback because the defense is just that strong. So I wrote a column earlier this week about Georgia and Kirby Smart and why I know that they are kings in the SEC and every road runs through Sanford. And it is in large part because that 9-year run that he had as defensive coordinator for Nick Saban is the blueprint for which he uses to build and continue to build at Georgia, even as we've had changes that he has coached through, from the implementation of the transfer portal to the advent of immediate eligibility in FBS to the advent of name, image, and likeness and paying players to revenue sharing that we're experiencing now. The blueprint he's working is the one that I think everybody else is going to have to if they plan to compete at the level that Georgia competes at. And that is, you recruit the hell out of them after you evaluate who can help you. And then you play everybody and you play them as much as you can. So one of the things that most of the players at Georgia know when they get there, you're going to play significant football snaps. You're not going to play as many as some other starters at other places, but you're going to play a lot. And because you play a lot, you are fresh toward the end. We rotate in, and players get to do the one thing that they showed up in Georgia to do, which is play football, right? It's one of the reasons why we look up and these Georgia football players getting drafted in the first round don't have the stats that many people expect them to have as first-round draft picks. But if you look at their production on the field and you look at how they play the game, it's very clear that Kirby Smart has developed the hell out of this team. They practice a lot, they play a lot. And he has said, if you want to get to the NFL and you want to be a first-round draft pick, what the NFL has told college football players is stay there as long as you need to, because you're going to get practices and development that you're not going to get at the NFL. At the NFL, you got to be able to go right away. There's still another level you can reach if you're that kind of elite player. But for the most part, you're going to have it put together by the time you get there, especially if you're first round pick. They expect you to start. They expect you to pick it up. They expect to not have to teach you much because they don't want to. They are drafting you based on what you did over there. So the practices that you have in college are much more valuable than the practices that you have in the NFL. They don't like to hit. They don't hit a lot. The impetus is on keeping everybody healthy enough to play the games, because in the NFL, you only get paid during those, weeks that you play games. It's an interesting system, right? So if you don't play, you don't get no check, or you need to learn to save your money, right? Both of those things are important, but I think saving the money thing is something that you either learn early or you don't learn at all, as we got a lot of adults that are trying to spend these kids' money or tell them what to do with their money. But I wanted to round this out because Texas is picked to win the SEC with Arch Manning at quarterback. And as many detractors for Arch Manning have told you, they don't see it, right? Or they haven't seen enough of it. 2 starts against ULM and Mississippi State does not make an SEC championship quarterback. Cool, got it. And Arch, to his credit, says, I don't deserve all this attention that I'm getting. I really haven't done much of anything except dress like a Kappa Sig at media days. I guess that can't be helped, right? I guess that can't be helped. But if you're talking about winning at a high level and you're talking about doing this for championships, you're talking about Georgia football. You're not really talking about Texas just yet, even as Texas has won the Big 12 championship. Let Oklahoma tell you what winning a bunch of Big 12 championships is worth in the SEC. That said, we do expect Georgia and Texas to be right back there at the end of this. And this is going to be a very cool game when Texas got to go to Sanford. All roads go to Sanford. Last point on this is the last time that Georgia lost a home game at Sanford was 2019 South Carolina, jacked for the hedges. You know who the head coach was then? It's Will Muschamp. He's been on staff at Georgia for the last 5 years, and he's been calling the defense for multiple years. It takes a lot to go into Sanford and get a W. If Texas can do that, then we can have that conversation. But for now, the Kings in the SEC are the Georgia Bulldogs.